Have you ever looked at your wine corks and the different types that you get and thought about how they're made? Because it is super interesting. And what types of cork can you use for long and short-term aging? I'm Sophia from The Drink Talking, and I'm a wine educator, and I run wine and cheese tasting events. I'm going to give you the full cork lowdown. So every cork begins its life as an oak tree, and this is a specific species that you find mainly in Portugal, but you can find them in other Mediterranean climates. These types of oak trees live up to 200 years. You've actually got to wait until the tree is a minimum of 25 years old before you can make your first harvest. The harvest is actually of the bark of the tree. After 25 years, this is when the bark is going to be thick enough for you to be able to separate it from the trunk. In between each harvest, you need to wait 9 years before you can harvest it again. To make the very best wine corks, you've actually got to wait until the tree is about 40 years old. This will be on its third harvest when the bark is mature and thick enough to make really great corks. After you've harvested, you take the bark to be boiled. Now, when it's boiled, it expands it and it also softens and flattens it into sheets. Also, the boiling sterilizes the cork, and this is when you're going to get rid of any bacteria that might cause TCA in the cork. Now, TCA is something that makes wine sometimes smell like it's damp or a wet cardboard smell. It's also known as cork taint, which is a little bit of an unfair name because you can also find it in screw caps, you can also find it on oak barrels. But basically this boiling process, which now they're really strict about, eliminates that bacteria. So nowadays you're far less likely to come across TCA on corks than in the bad old days. After the cork has been boiled, you then assess the quality of its thickness and its consistency. And these are then categorized from going all the way up to 1. So 1 being the very best. Let me zoom in so you guys can see this. Number 1, as you can see, has got this lovely, thick and consistent texture to it. The cork that is considered to be inferior quality is then shredded into smaller pieces, and then they will be compressed together to make agglomerate corks. This might be familiar to you now when you think about when you've seen these before. So this is the shredded up cork that has been glued together. Wines that are closed with these corks should be consumed within the first year of purchasing. You can also do something called a twin top, and this is where you have an agglomerate cork in the middle, but then you use natural cork discs that are glued onto both ends. So the most important part that is touching the wine is just 100% natural cork and no glue. The very best corks will be made from a single piece of cork, and these are the highest quality and the most expensive. But you've got 2 different categories within these. So you have a colmated cork. Now this is one cork, however, its quality cork is a little bit lower than others, so it will be quite porous. So they actually fill the pores with dust and glue in order to stop lots of oxygen getting in there. When you pull these out the bottle, they really feel smooth and they glide out of the bottle. These are good for medium aging, but really no more than 3 years. The pièce de la résistance and what you're really looking for in your wine is none other than the 100% natural cork, where this is just one piece of cork and that's it, the creme de la creme. This is the only cork that you should really trust for aging your wines beyond 5 years. And this is because it's so spongy and flexible that it keeps the seal viable for the longest. So next time you are looking at your corks, check it out. What have you got in your bottle? Because it's mega fascinating to see all the different types. I've been Sophia from The Drink Talking. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you on a wine tasting sometime. Toodle pip.